Is the honey you're munching on the real deal, or just a sweet, sweet scam concocted by mischievous bees? This burning question has been buzzing around the minds of Americans for what feels like, well, forever. And if you believe it's merely a colossal controversy, whoo boy, are you in for a sticky surprise. Real honey, the one that's packed with pollen, is running out. You may not know about it, but there's a worldwide honey shortage going on right now. And if you ask us, we don't know who to trust anymore. So, if all the honey around the world is fake, where do you get the real honey from? Is authentic honey supposed to come with a heavier price tag? And most importantly, how do you know if the jar of honey in your pantry is fake? Hey guys, welcome back to Culinary Curiosities, where we reveal the craziest food mysteries. In this video, we're turning into Winnie the Pooh and diving into a huge pot of honey. If you're just as puzzled as we are, then you'll definitely want to stick around. So, you'll have to excuse the pun, what's all the buzz about? Alright, picture this. The golden sweetness of honey drizzling over warm pancakes or swirling into a cup of tea. It's a comforting treat that everyone loves. But here's the catch. Your honey is probably fake. Alright, so believe it or not, real honey is becoming increasingly rare. It might come as a surprise to you, but this sweet staple is facing some serious challenges. We've got climate change, habitat loss, and the mysterious phenomenon known as colony collapse disorder, which have all contributed to this sticky situation. And to make matters worse, a recent study done by the European Commission's Anti-Fraud Office revealed that almost half, yeah, you heard that right, half of the imported honey in Europe is nothing but a massive fraud. It's full of sugary syrups and none of it even contains any pollen at all. And if that wasn't enough, then back in February 2013, there was a whole honey laundering scheme that exposed two companies who were bringing fake Chinese honey into the US. And hey, did you know that honey consumption has been rising while production is struggling to keep up? This puzzling paradox is what led to a global honey shortage in the first place. So why does this even matter? How does it affect me? My pancakes are delicious, you might ask. Well, it actually affects more than just the honey on your pancakes. The scarcity of real honey drives up prices and even raises concerns about the quality of the honey that's available in stores. So, how do you like your honey? Everyone knows that honey is more than just a sweet treat. In fact, it's a global phenomenon that's been part of various cultures for centuries. But get this, every culture has their own unique way of eating honey. Did you know that in Turkey, the land of baklava and Turkish delight, honey consumption per capita is a whopping 6 pounds? That's like having an entire jar of honey for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Meanwhile, China is consuming about 400,000 metric tons of honey each year. That's enough honey to sweeten a whole lot of teacups. Now, let's head on over to the land down under, where in Australia, they have a taste for eucalyptus honey. Every year, the Aussies devour an average of 700 grams of honey per person. No wonder their koalas are always so mellow. And let's not forget about the United States. With the vast culinary landscape, Americans go through an impressive 400 million pounds of honey each year. That's enough to fill an entire Olympic-sized swimming pool. Now, these numbers are just a glimpse into the diverse ways cultures around the world embrace this golden delight. But what happens when the honey well starts to run dry? That's where the global honey shortage comes into play. But real quick, why do we have a shortage anyway? Well, 2023 is looking like one of the worst years for both honeybees and honey eaters like us. But in order to understand the honey shortage, we must first look at the tiny heroes responsible for its creation, our friends the fuzzy little bees. Bees are incredible pollinators. These tiny little creatures collect nectar from flowers and transform it into the golden elixir we know as honey. Unfortunately, things aren't looking too good for the bees right now. One of the biggest reasons why we have a bee shortage is the use of pesticides. Now, these chemicals might have the best intentions to simply protect crops, but they're actually harming bees and their ability to gather nectar. All those pesticide sprays weaken the bees' immune systems, disrupt their navigational abilities, and even lead to an entire colony collapse disorder. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, what disorder now? Yeah, you heard me. Colony collapse. Even though we still don't know much about this mysterious phenomenon, all we're concerned about is how it leads to entire bee colonies suddenly disappearing into thin air. Oh man, and if that wasn't bad enough, then our poor little bees are also facing habitat loss. Thanks to urbanization, we've been tearing down the trees to build skyscrapers everywhere. The result? Bees can't find suitable areas to build their hives and find nectar. So without giving them the space and floral resources, how can we expect the bees to give us real honey? And get this, it's not just a local issue. It's actually a global concern. In fact, we'd rather call it a sticky situation. And we know what you're thinking. Why should I care about the honey shortage? Well, get ready to have your mind blown because the honey you're eating might be faker than a $3 bill. Yep, that's right folks, fake honey is flooding the market, and it's not just a minor inconvenience. This sweet deception has some serious consequences for your health and the honey industry as a whole. So how do they produce this imposter honey? Let me tell you the oh so not sweet truth. It all starts with cheap and low quality ingredients. Instead of those hardworking bees collecting nectar from flowers, fake honey manufacturers take shortcuts and use sugar syrup or other sweeteners as a base. Can you believe it? And get this, the sneaky tactics don't stop there. They know we aren't blind, so to make this fraudulent honey look more authentic, they'll even throw in a dash of real honey or artificial flavorings and colorings. It's like a honey-themed magic show, but instead of a rabbit in a hat, it's all smoke and mirrors to deceive unsuspecting consumers like you and me. But wait, there's more! It's not just about sugary syrups. Apart from those cheap ingredients, you'll often find contaminants like antibiotics, heavy metals, and even pesticides in fake honey. It's a toxic cocktail disguised as a sweet treat. Not exactly what you signed up for, right? And now here's the real kicker. Eating fake honey isn't just bad for your taste buds, it's bad for your health too. Real honey, the one made by those industrious bees, is packed with antioxidants, enzymes, and other beneficial compounds. It has antimicrobial properties and can even help soothe a sore throat. No, but fake honey? It's just a sugary imposter with no real nutritional value. It's like going to a fancy restaurant and getting served a microwaved TV dinner. Not cool, man. Not cool at all. Now, if none of that concerns you, then maybe the heftier price tags will. The fake honey flooding the market is putting a squeeze on the real stuff. Authentic honey, made by our buzzing friends, requires time, effort, and a whole lot of bees doing their thing. But with the honey market being diluted by fakes, the demand for the real deal is skyrocketing. As a result, beekeepers are facing increased costs and challenges to maintain their hives and ensure the production of genuine honey. They need to invest in sustainable practices, combat the threats of pesticides and habitat loss, and provide the bees with the care they need to thrive. And all of that comes at a price, my friends, the one that we are paying to get our hands on the real deal. Now it's time for the million-dollar question. Is the honey in your pantry fake? You might assume that just because a jar of honey is pricey, it must be the real thing, right? Well, that's not true either. Many fake honey producers are going with market trends and charging us higher prices for these fraudulent sugary syrups. This way, you'll never really know whether you're eating fake honey or the real deal. But luckily for you, we have a few tips from the experts on how to spot fake honey. So everybody, get ready to become a honey Sherlock Holmes. First off, let's talk about appearances. Real honey isn't always as clear as glass. In fact, it can come in various shades from light amber to dark golden hues. So if you stumble upon a jar of honey that looks a little too transparent or unnaturally bright, that's a major red flag. Real honey has a natural, slightly cloudy appearance, almost like liquid sunshine captured in a jar. Now let's move on to texture. Real honey has a unique viscosity, flowing smoothly but not too quickly. If you leave it in the pantry for too long, then it might even form tiny crystals over time. But don't worry, it's just a sign of the good stuff. Fake honey, on the other hand, always has a watery consistency. When you pour it out, it's like a speedy river that doesn't have the natural thickness of the real deal. So watch out for those thin, runny honeys. They might be imposters in disguise. Next, let's put our taste buds to work. Real honey has distinct flavor profiles depending on all the floral sources the bees went to. This can change from floral and fruity to earthy and even have a hint of bitterness sometimes. So if you come across a honey that tastes overwhelmingly sweet or lacks any unique flavors, it's time to raise an eyebrow. These sugary syrups really fall flat in the taste department, because authentic honey will give you a delightful symphony of flavors the moment you taste it. Finally, let's talk labels. A trustworthy jar of honey should have clear and accurate labeling. Look out for information about the honey's origin, the beekeeper or brand, and if possible, certifications like pure or raw. Real honey won't have any of that. And if you live in an area with local beekeepers, it's always a good idea to support them. In fact, they're also much more likely to give you transparent information about their product. And if you're lucky, you might end up seeing them extract honey from honeycombs right in front of your eyes. What else could you ask for? And remember, honeys, when it comes to spotting fake honey and finding the real deal, just trust your instincts. Rely on your senses and don't settle for anything less than genuine liquid gold. And that's a wrap for this video. Where do you get your honey from? Do you think the honey on the shelves is fake? Tell us all about your honey nightmares in the comments section below.